Alright, we are back. We had a week off, just to chill, and last week was Father's Day. So happy belated Father's Day.
And this weekend is 4th of July.
This weekend's 4th of July already.
Yeah. Time flies.
Oh my god. Okay. We have a new setup. We are in Brandon's Geek Man Cave. Trying it out. It's a bit tight space-wise.
Are you claustrophobic?
No, but it was not what I was expecting.
Hey,
so we have
room for one in here.
our makeshift table. We're trying to make work. I will try not to bang my knee repeatedly on it. First, let me get a few things out of the way. I'm very appreciative of my wife for giving me a chance to spread my geeky wings and doing this little video blog thing. Thank you, Brandon, and your wife Becky, for letting me use your house. Other than that, that's all I have to say. I'm sure if something pops in my head later, when I think of it, I'll
just right in the middle of it.
Get it out there.
So yeah, talk about this game. And oh yeah, by the way.
Next on the remake of Stephen King movies is Christine.
Yeah, kind of like the original. I thought the remake wasn't bad, but
the remake of It.
Oh, I loved It. I never saw part 2 because it's funny because even in the original It, like the TV series, I only cared about the first part. That to me was scarier. So when they're older and start chasing them down, it's like, well, who cares? Like now it's not so scary. Now it's more actiony. It's like, eh.
See, that's yeah. I mean, I liked It Chapter 1, the movie.
Oh, that was good.
Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise is perfect casting. And then yeah, It Chapter 2 wasn't as it was good, but again, it fell into that like, okay, we have to do a part 2 now just to conclude the story, but not really. It doesn't have as much oomph. Like it's not as scary maybe as part 1.
Right.
And the miniseries starring the awesome Tim Curry. Part 1 actually ended up, I saw it, obviously I would not be watching a horror miniseries in 1990 at my age, being a little kid, but we borrowed it from the library because I was curious, because the movie was coming out, and I was like, well, before I watch the movie, I should probably watch
That's what I did with Beck.
The original movie.
Yeah, I had her watch
the
it.
miniseries first, and part 1 is awesome, and then like you said, part 2 is kind of like, okay, we have to do part 2 now, and it's like, okay, we're doing this. Although I do have to say that I like that the fact that the part 2 of the movie that came out was more accurate to the book than the part 2 of the miniseries, where they fight a giant turtle or have a giant spider.
Stephen King is freaking crazy, dude. Yeah, well, the turtle's the only one that can stop Pennywise or something.
Well, Stephen King was huge into coke in like the 80s.
Well,
he just coked out his mind.
It's definitely evident. I mean, not to mention, you know, what happens, I believe it's in part 1. Yeah, because when they're still kids, in part 1 he has like an orgy thing. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
All right. Then there's a giant turtle that's like part of a universe or something that can only destroy Pennywise.
Which they kind of mention in part 2 of the movie about like only this thing can kill Pennywise, like the ritual of Chud or something like that.
Oh dear Lord. See, that's where you lose me. Yeah. That's where I was like, I saw part 2 coming, I'm like, oh, Bill Hader's in it. That's pretty dope. And then I was like,
the casting in part 2 of the movie is spot on. James McAvoy, Bill Hader, Jessica Chastain as like your main principals. Those are pretty good. I like that casting.
Yeah, the casting was good.
I do have to give a shout out to part 1 though, the miniseries. A young Seth Green as the young Richie, who would go on to fame in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, amongst many other things. Writer for Robot Chicken. He's
Chris
like
Griffin.
He's like tight with George Lucas.
Yeah,
like he can go to Lucas, like the ranch, Lucas Ranch. Like I don't know.
It's funny.
I like the original Christine. It's a little cheesy.
Yeah.
Especially in some of the deaths, like when the guy's gonna get run over by Christine, and he like goes down a narrow alleyway. It's like, dude, it's a car. You can just go and like walk off to the side.
It's like an Austin Powers thing where it's like, stop! There's like 20 feet to go yet. It's like, okay.
Christine, the original novel, is almost totally different, but not. Like in the Christine the movie, beginning, Christine's coming off the factory floor. The idiot guy goes in here and like drops a cigar ash on her seat, and then he gets killed. And we were to assume from that point on Christine was born evil, but in the novel, like in the movie, they mentioned about how this one guy like bought the car and like he went all crazy and like with his girlfriend and stuff like that. And now that old guy's trying to sell the car, yada yada yada. Because in the original novel, it actually takes place first in that time period where the guy is like owns the Plymouth Fury. I almost forgot what kind of car it was, and I would have been really ashamed of myself. And then things ensue, and he dies, and his spirit actually possesses Christine the car. And then when Artie ends up getting the car, that spirit of that previous owner is what's infected him, and he even has like conversations with like the astral ghost guy of like the previous owner, which would be kind of cool if they did that in the new movie, like if they touched upon that sort of thing. But I have no idea who's actually directing the new Christine movie. I looked it up, but
yeah, I don't know. Horror movies these days just aren't.
And I have not seen the
Great.
remake of Pet Sematary. I haven't seen the original Pet Sematary either.
I haven't seen the remake either, but I can guarantee the original will. It probably could scare you quite good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Actually, I'm wrong. I have seen parts of the original, just enough to get a sense of what it's about. And
there's a couple of parts too that, even though it's kind of cheesy and older, like we're talking, there's even a point where like one thing happens and you're just kind of like, oh god, oh. I was just saying Achilles is involved.
Oh really?
Yeah, no thanks. But yeah, I don't know. I'm also not the biggest Stephen King fan. Just because some of his stories are good, like The Stand was good. Some of his other stuff is just kind of like meh.
We talked about it a little bit last week. I know you're not a huge fan of the DCEU, but you gotta give props to Warner Brothers getting Michael Keaton back as Bruce Wayne / Batman.
Yeah.
Especially since he kind of got shafted on Batman's 3 and 4, and they replaced him with George Clooney and Val Kilmer. Sorry, I almost forgot for a second.
And then Ben Affleck.
And then Ben Affleck, which he ended up doing better than I thought he would have done.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. People are kind of like, what the hell? And then, well, isn't there still supposed to be a, wow, what the hell's Vampire Boy? I can't think of his name right now.
Vampire Boy.
Twilight guy.
Oh, Robert Pattinson?
Thank you. Jesus.
That looks promising. I'm sorry.
Is that still coming out?
Yes.
Okay.
And apparently Supergirl, or Superwoman, I don't know which is which, pictures of her are showing up online, so she's going to be in the Flash movie. And then the Flash is getting a new costume, more comic accurate from what it looks like, because I think at this point, Snyderverse Flash is a totally different Flash than what the DCU has planned for.
Are they
Flash
giving
movie.
us
Even though
Snyderverse version?
no,
Okay.
fans want Snyderverse,
But yeah, they're putting the Knicks on it, right?
Yeah.
I saw about that.
The Snyder cut of Justice League is probably all we're gonna get, and Man of Steel, or
Sure,
technically,
yeah.
and Batman v Superman are gonna be this Snyderverse universe, unless Warner Brothers budges and gets out of the way and be like, yeah, go ahead and do
Which
it.
they probably won't, because after Snyderverse did good, and then they were like, hey, you can get the 4K original. Yeah, check this out. And everybody's like, we don't want that shit. Get out of here.
And I've only watched it once, or the Justice League Snyder cut, because it's 4 hours long. I have not watched it.
Wasn't that good then?
Well, Michael Keaton did want to do a Batman 3 and 4, but he didn't like the scripts because they were going towards a more campy approach, and they offered him like the bank, and he turned it down just because he wanted to maintain his reputation. And
I respect that. I respect that though.
Yeah.
To kind of just be like, yo, money's great, but don't make an ass out of me. Hell no.
And then they even changed the script for Batman Returns, because I hope you've seen Batman Returns, right?
Of course.
I just have to ask, because I have friends who have not seen Batman movies.
And in a world where I'm not a huge DC fan, I do like Batman. Did my part.
Going back to Batman Returns,
Yes.
Obviously, Penguin runs for mayor. The awesome Christopher Walken plays Max Schreck, who is his in-secret business partner. We got Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, who totally nails the role. I love Catwoman. Michelle Pfeiffer, Catwoman. She's awesome. Originally, it was supposed to be, instead of Max Schreck, Christopher Walken was supposed to be Billy D. Williams' Harvey Dent. Until they went in a completely different direction. Obviously, recast Two-Face as Tommy Lee Jones. But Billy D. Williams
Which
did
was
get
pretty
his.
good.
Yeah, he wasn't bad. He was doing a little bit more Joker impression, I think, and then
Yeah.
him being like the sinister Aaron Eckhart, Two-Face Dark Knight version.
Ooh, that's a whole thing.
And we won't get into that this time. But yeah, Billy D. Williams was supposed to play Harvey Dent, and then at the end of the movie, we see Max Schreck get electrocuted, and he's like a crispy piece of chicken. At the end, obviously he's dead because Catwoman takes that little shocker like that and like kisses him at the same time. But it was originally supposed to end with her doing that, and then that's how he'd become Two-Face, is he'd get like scarred on one side, and then he'd be back for Batman 3. But Warner Brothers bought out his contract because they wanted to get Tommy Lee Jones, and then that's how the rest of the Batverse went. But the fact that Michael Keaton's coming back, I don't know if that means then Batman 3 and 4 are kind of going to be stricken from the record and like won't kind of like exist technically because it's Michael Keaton back as Batman. So I don't know how they're gonna play that. It doesn't look too bad, and Billy D. Williams got his moment in the sun as Two-Face in Lego Batman movie.
Fair enough.
And then one more thing about the Michael Keaton coming back thing.
Mm-hmm.
He did want to touch upon how he became Batman. He wanted to like explore the origins of like how his Batman became Batman, which eventually evolved into Batman Begins.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
Which is a pretty good film.
Not bad.
I have not read much about this or seen much about this. I know you were trying to find some stuff about it too. Couldn't really find a lot about the open world Star Wars game that's in development at. It's not EA.
Ubisoft.
Okay, it is Ubisoft. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be. I'm curious. I know I've read people said they wanted to have like an Assassin's Creed type gameplay. Don't know anything about who the main character would be. I mean, it'd be nice if they would let you choose.
As far as I've seen too, like through some of the stuff I looked at, it's like I don't think there's really any pictures yet. But one of the things they shared as kind of like a thumbnail was like I don't know, one of them like a Mandalorian basically shooting at something, and I don't know, you really can't tell. So I'm like, okay, so is that just a nod, or is that just a thumbnail just because? Why the hell not? It's Star Wars, who cares? Yeah, exactly. I don't know much.
I love the Force Unleashed game.
Oh yeah.
The first one, that one is so awesome. And then when the Force Unleashed 2 came out, I was like so jazzed for it. And then you're sitting there and playing, and then it's done. Like the Force Unleashed was like 10 times longer than this game. What the heck? I don't know if you've played 1 or 2 of Force Unleashed.
A long time ago. I don't think I've ever beat either one, but yeah.
The ending for number 2, where you can like choose what you want to do, if you want to join the light or join the dark, and then it's like, well, that was kind of anticlimactic, but okay. Which I guess those games were technically canon, but now since the Disney acquisition, they are no longer canon. They're an Elseworlds type tale, which kind of sucks because it'd be awesome to see Starkiller in live action. Sam Witwer playing which I may have heard or saw something, but they may be considering bringing him in to do a live action Starkiller. So I don't know. I would go see that. It's funny how in video games they always have the Force be like this super awesome, like powerful thing, and you can do anything. And then when it comes to the movie, it's just like lightsaber. Thing.
Right. In a game, it's like, holy shit, I can do whatever the hell I want. This is insane. Yeah, you're right. And then all of a sudden, the movie comes, it's like, I can
although I have to give a shout out to the Mandalorian for bringing Luke Skywalker back and him using the Force to take out those Dark Troopers.
That was pretty cool.
That was awesome.
Come off Gideon's face, like,
I had goosebumps. Comments on somebody was like, "You never seen a Grand Moff shit himself before." When he realizes who's on board, and he's like, okay, from his point of view, this is not only the guy who destroyed both Death Stars technically, but he defeated the Empire. He killed the Emperor. From his POV, he killed Darth Vader because the Empire didn't know who Darth Vader really was, and now he's on board coming in. Yeah, you're boned. You're screwed.
So he's just like, there's a reason why all of a sudden he wanted to kill himself. He's like, bye.
I'd say that I would totally buy and accept, and really would want the actor that plays Grand Moff Gideon. I can't think of his name.
It's like Giancarlo.
It's Giancarlo.
I can't think of his last name. Anyway,
but he'd be spotted for Doom. he would be great as Dune. As an actor, he can play sinister. He can just watch him in The Mandalorian. Just imagine that character, but with a green tunic and a metal mask, and like, I will get you riches. We watched Luca a couple weeks ago.
Nice. How'd you like it?
Most of it. I mean, it wasn't terrible. I don't think you haven't watched it. No. It's not bad. It's definitely a Pixar by the numbers. Like, excuse me. Sorry.
Dr. Pepper hitting.
Obviously, it hits the same beats as a Pixar movie should. The antagonist, life-changing thing, has a friend, whatever.
So his parents die. The antagonist is like, "Oh, you're stupid. Get
his
out of
parents
here."
don't actually die, but his parents are definitely against his life choices. Because I don't know if you care if I have spoilers. Aaron, spoilers. Luca, he's like a kind of mermaid type. I mean, I guess they technically call him a sea monster, but as soon as he gets on land, he turns into like a regular boy. He wants to live in the human world. I get massive My Little Mermaid vibes in the movie, just from the whole, he lives under the sea and wants to be a human.
And then he turns into a human as he steps on the sand.
And he decides to stay human at the end of the movie. But yeah, I mean, as far as Pixar movies, and that one, and we tried to watch Soul, we couldn't get into Soul.
Soul was good. It's kind of like, I think that's one of those where it's like you either like it or you don't. I mean, I'm not a jazz fan really, so that part was kind of like, you know. But at the same time, it was good. It was,
as with all Pixar movies, is obviously visually awesome.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
of course.
I think the only thing stopping them from going full-on realism is the fact that they are still cartoons, and they want to kind of keep that cartoon mentality and vibe, because they probably could do like a full CGI human if they wanted to.
See, the thing is with Pixar too, they're also really good at putting out good sequels. I mean, look at Toy Story. I remember being hyped as hell when Toy Story 2 was coming out, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be awesome, and it was. You know, it was good. And never, as you know, a little kid, did I think, holy shit, we'd be 4 deep, and I'd still be like, all right, Toy Story's so dope.
Isn't 5 coming?
I think so. So it's like, okay, yeah, it's just funny looking at their list, and it's like, okay, so you got a, you know, original sequel, and then there's Toy Story, which is blowing up, which I'm alright with. I mean, 3, they kind of got you with a gotcha moment, and then there came a 4th one, and it's like,
I thought you're done. 3, I thought you were done. It's like, yeah, there's ended. I'm like, no, that was the end of Andy's story. What about the end of Woody's story?
right. Well, and then when they were going to the incinerator, I'm like, that son of a bitch and Barry's gonna get away with it. He's gonna be like, hey, take me, and he's gonna get away, and then they're all gonna die. I'm like, this is trash. This is garbage. And all of a sudden, I forget what happens, but somebody saves him or whatever, and I was like, should've seen that coming. Just kidding, I wasn't crying. We're good.
Are you talking about how the toys get saved?
Yeah. Who saved them?
The 3 little alien dudes.
That's right. That's right. It's been a little bit.
Not for us. We used to watch that all the time.
All I remember is the damn bear's name is Lotso.
Lotso, yeah.
I don't know why I remember that. Maybe because he was actually a pretty decent villain.
We're finally getting a sequel to Avatar. James Cameron's Avatar is coming out next year, followed by subsequent sequels. Yay!
So they say, but we'll see, because haven't we been having a sequel come out for Avatar like, what, 3 years running? Maybe longer, maybe less. Okay.
James Cameron, visionary filmmaker, innovative filmmaker, definitely has, you know, innovated the movie experience. Like I said, it's visually stunning. Did we need sequels? Probably not.
I mean, I feel like it kind of cut off perfectly, right?
Yeah, because you got all the original cast returning. Even the bad guy who got killed at the end, you told me he was coming back. Right?
Yeah, he's supposed to be the villain in like the next 3 or 4 or whatever the hell they have planned. Yeah.
So they must have some pretty damn good science in the future to bring someone back from the dead who did. I haven't seen in such a long time. We bought it. We own it. We haven't watched it since we bought it.
It's Disney Plus.
Of course it is. Doesn't he get like multiple arrows?
Yeah, he gets like 2 arrows stuck in him, and
not like normal size arrows, like the Navi size arrows.
Yeah, well, that's supposed to be like this poisonous tip that'll kill you in seconds. So it's like, okay, so he's definitely dead at the end of 1, so we think. Unless he becomes like, I don't know, part bionic. I don't know how the hell he's coming back. I don't know. I thought it was kind of a good end. It was just like, okay, bad guy defeated, talking about all this stuff too. And with Avatar, bring Sigourney Weaver back. That was some bullshit when she died. I was like, alright.
Oh yeah, I forgot that she died.
Yeah.
Sigourney
Also, not a spoiler, because you've had, what, 11 years? There you go, because I think it was 2009. So
yes, it was. We mentioned Avatar. The main topic of focus is sequels that came out several years, almost over a decade after the originals. Avatar came out in 2009. We're getting a sequel in 2022. So
allegedly.
Allegedly. Clerks came out 12 years ago, and then Clerks came out, and then 12 years later, Clerks 2 came out.
Which I thought was bomb. Dude, it was so good. It was so funny. But I also love Kevin Smith, though, so that's kind of unfair.
Clerks 2 was pretty good.
I thought it was hilarious.
I'm very looking forward to Twilight of the Mallrats is coming out. And
yeah.
Maybe we're getting Clerks 3?
I don't know. Clerks 2, though. That lasts like 20 minutes. Oh my god. Oh no, the cops are here. Better finish. Do you remember that part?
I don't remember.
I think, what was it, like Kelly and something, and they're like, oh, who's Kelly? It's the donkey. Oh, or something like that, or I don't remember. Oh man.
Unbreakable came out, and then
never watched it.
Really?
Yep. Never saw that one.
Okay, last week you gave me shit looks for not having seen Bad Boys 2, so now I'm giving you shit looks for not seeing Unbreakable.
All right, touche. All right, fair.
And then Split came out. We didn't know it was a sequel to Unbreakable. Have you seen Split or Glass?
Neither one, but I get the gist of it. And
Unbreakable, starring Bruce Willis, finds out he has immense superhuman strength because he survives a train crash.
Right.
It was orchestrated by Sam Jackson's character, Mr. Glass. And they call him Mr. Glass because he has glass bones.
Yeah, which is why it's in the wheelchair. Not that I know.
And then 16 years later, Split came out, starring James McAvoy, who has a character who has multiple personalities. One of them is like a superhuman dude.
Like a beast.
And
I think
then
it's called Beast.
Yes, he's called Beast. And then there's a post-credit scene that shows Bruce Willis's character, and you're like, oh my god, it's his character from Unbreakable. This is like
it's a
surprise sequel to it's a universe now. And then Glass came out a couple years ago, and then it had so much potential. It had so much potential.
What was bad about it? I mean, without going into super detail, what didn't you like?
David Dunn's character, I don't know if it's an actual weakness or if it's like his mind telling him he has this weakness to water. Basically, he gets drowned in a mud puddle in glass. He dies. Yeah, it's so bad. Okay. And they set up this whole world of potentially the world having superheroes, and they just don't like do anything about it. It's like, oh, M. Night Shyamalan, you were doing so good, and then you.
Oh, that's right. That's who did that. Yeah. Because I remember seeing his name attached to Split, and I'm like, all right, maybe, yeah, okay. You know, his track record started off really good, and then it kind of went poo-poo. And
yeah,
when he did the Avatar: The Last Airbender, don't get it mixed up. I mean, seeing it live action, I was like, all right, let's go. This is gonna be dope. He's doing a movie off of a TV show where the TV show is like the OG. It's you know how everything is. So what the hell is with in the TV show they call him Aang, Sokka, and then in the movie it's Ong and Sokka. Couldn't get past that. The first time they said Ong, I'm like, I want to leave. And even like as far as like the mirror to the TV series, I felt like it was actually pretty good. I felt like it was pretty solid. But then there was just like minor hiccups like that just became like, you know what? Screw this. It's kind of.
I've seen Dumb and Dumber 2. I was surprised.
So here's why. Because Dumb and Dumber is such an instant classic. I don't need a sequel.
Exactly.
I don't want to see it.
It is an unnecessary sequel. I was surprised to hear that when they're coming out with Dumb and Dumber 2. It's technically the official sequel to Dumb and Dumber because the movie came out, the prequel, Dumb and Dumberer or whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't even really.
And they don't consider that. I never saw it. I had no interest in seeing it because
I didn't either.
I didn't need a sequel to Dumb and Dumber. I did see Dumb and Dumber 2 in the theaters. It wasn't bad, but yeah.
Yeah, I think once I heard that 2 was about them like going to find. Who was it? It was one of them had a daughter or something. With was it Rita Felcher?
Yes.
So okay, yeah. Was it supposed to be Jim Carrey's? I assume because see that part where he's like, "Oh yeah, I knew her." I mean, you know, I've heard stuff that you've said about her.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
didn't need a sequel. I didn't.
Cool. Tron Legacy came out in 1982. I was not born yet. I did not see it until maybe 2010, I knew of it. My geekiness didn't really start coming out until I met my wife. I knew of Tron. I finally saw it. It is an awesome film. Maybe even underrated in itself. Visually groundbreaking. One of the first movies to use CGI. Jeff Bridges is awesome.
Yes.
Bruce Boxleitner, who we met at a con, who I had signed my copy of Tron Blu-ray.
The light cycle stuff is crazy.
The light cycles, just
the
anything,
disc battles.
anything.
I can't think what they're called.
I
was just called
disc
disc
battles.
Might have nailed it. Those are cool.
Tron Legacy is so underrated. Is carries on.
It's so good.
It's so awesome.
It.
I don't know.
Daft Punk is the freaking soundtrack, bro.
I don't know why people. I mean, okay, obviously, if you're coming out with a sequel to a movie 28 years later, you're not going to use the same CGI tech you used to. They even mentioned in the film something about upgrading the system, like he upgraded the system or built a new system, yada yada yada. It is a good film. I think for me and everyone else, probably the only thing that really kind of takes you out of it is the de-aging tech on Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges' face, like they used a stunt body double. They mapped Jeff Bridges' face that they recorded with cameras onto the face of the body double. Jeff Bridges' face doesn't really fit the same conformities or structure as the face they use for the. I mean, Jeff Bridges does not have a chiseled jawline. If you watch Jeff Bridges, watch the first Tron, watch anything with Jeff Bridges, he's a normal looking dude. He's got like, normal looking face. He is the dude.
He is the dude.
He is the dude.
Got it.
That's a good one. But then you watch that, and then you watch like Ant-Man, or you watch any Marvel movie that use de-aging tech, and it's like spot on. Like it's so
I'll
good.
tell you what, because I love Tron Legacy, and I gotta get the wife, hooked on that stuff. I'll go back and watch it because from what I remember, and it's been a while, it's been a little bit, I haven't had a reason to watch Tron anytime soon. But from what I remember, I maybe I was just so like lost in the moment, but yeah, when he did the de-aging thing, I was kind of like, to me I was like, oh, this is awesome, how did they do that, this is crazy. And then, just like the whole movie, I just thought, I was like, this is dope, this is cool.
I think it's the way the mouth moves. Like when your mouth moves, it goes all over.
I know at the end when...
But his mouth is kind of like, like it doesn't really
I'll have to
move
look at
a
that,
lot.
yeah. I want to go back and see that. Because the only time it took me out of the immersion, I guess you could say, is like right at the end when they're like about to escape and he like kind of puts his face like in the certain lighting and he's like, you will not escape or something like that. I was kind of like, huh, it is kind of cartoony, But from a distance, it was like, man, that looks just like Jeff Bridges. Ow. So I was like, not bad. But yeah, I think that's the only time I lost immersion personally. But
yeah, it was
such a good movie.
I know fans want to have a third one because they set up Cillian Murphy's character as the son of Edward Dillinger from the first movie, and they wanted to do a third one with him as being the antagonist, but it's kind of
yeah.
I have not seen Bill and Ted Face the Music. I'm a huge Bill and Ted fan. I love the first movie. I saw that movie on VHS when I was like 6 or 7 years old. I did not care for Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey so much because I think it kind of strayed away from what I knew from the first film. They didn't really time travel, which is what I love about time travel movies is when they time travel. That's why I love Back to the Future. I have not seen Bill and Ted Face the Music. It's not really on the top of my list. It's like, okay, it's a sequel, maybe like in the vein of Dumb and Dumber 2, an unnecessary sequel.
That's fair, yeah.
I'll get to it eventually, I'm sure. Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know.
Well, I guess it's time to throw out there. Never seen Bill and Ted?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we going to be okay? Are you going to hurt me?
I'm okay. The last film with the longest gap between years, Ghostbusters 2, came out in 1989, I believe. Ghostbusters Afterlife is finally coming out this year, I think September. 32 years.
So they say. Because again, that's another one where it's like,
As far as quotable movies go, you can quote Star Wars, the original trilogy Star Wars to this day. You can quote lines from Back to the Future. You can quote, Ghostbusters is, I still use stuff from that movie to this day. I use stuff at work.
Whoa, easy there, Tess.
Easily in my top 5 favorite films, with Empire Strikes Back being number 1.
I was gonna say,
nothing ever is gonna knock that out of the top
we
spot.
Because talking quotables right there alone, what's the most quotable Star Wars movie? I think it's Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back.
Because every time somebody says something or you see something in pop culture, it's like, oh, that's from Empire Strikes Back. Oh, that's from Empire Strikes Back. But yeah,
Ghostbusters is a lightning in a bottle. The sequel.
How'd you like? Yeah, I was gonna say, how'd you like the second one?
The sequel.
Okay.
Ghostbusters isn't bad.
Yeah.
They changed some things because they wanted to conform. Ghostbusters came out, then the real Ghostbusters cartoon came out. So
that's right.
They wanted to make Ghostbusters 2 more kid friendly. So you lost the Ghostbusters stopped smoking. They stopped swearing. Slimer was a more prominent featured because he was in the cartoon, goofy. Like a main character in the cartoon.
Yeah.
Janine and Lewis hooked up, which I found weird because in the first movie they set up like Janine and Egon were going to be hooking up, especially since they were kissing and hugging at the end of the movie of number 1.
And throughout the whole first movie they put like chemistry. Yeah.
And then they wanted fans wanted a sequel, a third one, and it's kind of like faded into obscurity. And then Ghostbusters 2016 came out. I don't know if you've seen Ghostbusters 2016.
I didn't want to see it. Not because, you know, it's just...
It has nothing to do... I like it. I do not hate on it because it's an all-female cast.
No.
I like Kristen Wiig.
Oh, I love Kristen Wiig.
Kate McKinnon.
Yep.
Love Kate McKinnon. She is awesome in anything and everything. She's so funny on SNL.
Oh, yeah.
Leslie Jones is awesome. I can take or leave Melissa McCarthy.
That's fair. Yeah,
I think the thing that did it in is if you watch the first trailer for Ghostbusters 2016, they make it seem like it's going to be a sequel reboot to the original Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And then you go and see it, and it's like, it's totally not a sequel or reboot. It's a reboot, but not a sequel.
But it's like its own entity.
It's like its own thing. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
And
I heard that the original guys did do like cameos.
They did cameos.
And that's fine, but like it's not the same. You know what I mean? It's just that's all it is.
They did cameos. I feel when I watch it, like I saw it in the theaters. I didn't think it was bad. The more I think about it, the more I find wrong with it and don't really like
care for it.
Yeah. It almost feels like an hour long or 2 hour long SNL skit. In my opinion.
That's what I've heard.
Just watching an SNL skit for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And the thing I like about the original movie is you didn't need an explanation as to why things worked. But these are proton packs. They do things because things.
These are an EMF reader.
But then you have the new movie, the 2016 movie, that they get so into the explanation as to why the proton packs works. Like I don't even know why the proton packs work. I just want to see
who cares?
I
just want to see it happen. Yeah. I want to see you capture some shit.
I mean, I hope the movie does good. I have high expectations for the movie to do good. Obviously, the fans will go see it. I hope it's going to be released on streaming.
And we know of at least one person who's going to be like day one, right in there.
Right.
Yeah.
But they haven't really tried marketing it. I mean, come on, people. I know the original cast is coming back in some way, shape, or form. I hope. I think. But you got Paul Rudd, man. You got Paul Rudd in your movie.
Oh, I had no idea.
Really?
I didn't know about that. Yeah, no, kind of like you were saying though.
He's like a main character, like at least like a side, like a.
I'll admit, I haven't seen the second trailer, so I don't know if that's what got revealed. But
you got the kid from Stranger Things, Finn Wolfhard.
Oh, dude, that kid's funny. He's funny.
Then you got it looks like they're gonna continue. Something ties to Egon and his family. Inheriting like his farmhouse. It looks like we're getting the Terror Dogs back. We're gonna get mentions for Gozer are gonna be in there again. So
you would God. No?
Ecto, the original car, is back. I mean, it looks really good.
Yeah, so that's the thing that people are doing these days is like the reboot on top of a sequel. Like with Star Wars, it's like, okay, let's recycle A New Hope, but let's make it feel new. And I feel like that went pretty good. I know we're talking about Ghostbusters, not Star Wars, but that's just what it makes me think of, you know? And then it's just kind of like, okay, so the second one, way off the beaten path, that's not Empire Strikes Back, screw this movie. And then the third one, it was kind of like, Palpatine's back somehow.
Yeah. An hour. So, thanks for joining us. Check out my Instagram page. Give me some likes. Give me some follows. This YouTube video or this video, I'll try to put up on my Instagram page in a couple days. Watch out for that. It'll also be on my YouTube channel.
And we'll catch you next
Catch
time.
you next time. Have a good day, everyone, or good night, depending on where you are.